The human delegation ship moved slowly through the soft blue light of the Iliari home system. From the outside, the alien flagship looked like a drifting glass sculpture, long curves of silver and pearl woven together like living coral. From the inside, it felt warm, bright, and strangely alive. Lena Armitage stood near the wide observation window, hands clasped behind her back the way she had practiced. She kept reminding herself to breathe slowly. This was not just another mission. She was the first human cultural ambassador ever invited aboard an Iliari vessel. Behind her, the alien crew moved in quiet, graceful patterns. The Iliari were tall and slim, their skin smooth and pale like polished stone. Soft lines of light flowed beneath their skin, glowing in colors that shifted every few seconds. Blues faded into gold, gold flickered into violet. The patterns were not random. They were a language. Lena wished, not for the first time, that humans had something so clear. A smile could mean many things. Silence could mean even more. She turned as footsteps approached, or at least what passed for footsteps. The Iliari did not strike the floor hard. They seemed to glide. Commander Sadrin stopped a respectful distance away. His lights were calm shades of green and silver, which the translation guide had told Lena meant formal welcome. "Ambassador Armitage," the soft voice from her translator band said. "You are prepared for the gathering?" Lena gave a small nod.
"Yes, Commander. I hope I am."
Sadrin tilted his head slightly. It was a gesture she had learned meant polite curiosity. "Your heart rhythm is elevated."
Lena let out a nervous breath. That happens when humans are excited.
"And a little scared."
A ripple of pale blue moved across Sadrin's shoulders.
Both states often occur together before meaningful events. That made her smile for real. "Then I guess this'll be very meaningful." The gathering hall was wide and open, with curved walls that glowed softly from within. Dozens of Iliari stood in small groups, their lights blending and separating like slow-moving paintings. No furniture filled the room. The Iliari preferred open space, where body posture and light could be seen clearly. Lena stepped inside beside Sadrin, trying not to stare too obviously at everything. She had trained for this for years, but training hollows were not the same as being surrounded by living color. Every Iliari she passed dipped their heads slightly. Their lights shifted into brief flashes of polite gold. Her translator whispered meanings into her ear. Acknowledgement, welcome, interest. She returned the gestures as best she could, placing her hand over her chest in the human sign of respect. At first, things went well. Sadrin introduced her to several cultural scholars. Lena spoke slowly and simply, as planned, about Earth's oceans, forests, and cities. She showed a small projector image of a human marketplace full of people, color, and sound. The Iliari lights brightened with what her guide called fascination. But the more she tried to follow their shifting colors, the more overwhelmed she felt. Their emotions were not on their faces. They were everywhere at once. Across arms, along the neck, across the torso. And then she noticed something different. On Sadrin's inner upper leg, visible when he shifted his stance, there was a concentrated cluster of light, unlike the flowing lines across the rest of his body. This was a defined shape, almost like a spiral made of tiny stars. The colors there were deeper, richer, changing in slower, more layered ways. She tried not to look, but her eyes kept drifting back. It was not the location that drew her attention. It was the pattern. It looked meaningful, complex. Call, 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 like a story being told in color. While another Iliari spoke about their star navigation traditions, Lena found herself watching the spiral glow. A deep blue pulsed through it, then softened into green, shot through with thin lines of white. Was that memory? Pride? Sadness? She wished she knew. She did not notice the room growing quieter. Sadrin turned slightly toward her. The spiral brightened. "Human!" the translator said gently, but the hall was silent enough that everyone heard. Your eyes keep drifting. Is it the mark between my limbs that fascinates you? Lena froze. Every light in the room dimmed at once, like stars hidden behind clouds. Heat rushed to her face. I did not mean to offend. I was only trying to understand your light language. The patterns are beautiful, and that one looked important. A wave of deep violet moved through several nearby Iliari. Her translator struggled to keep up. Surprise, shock, uncertainty. Sadrin did not step back. His spiral mark pulsed slowly, colors folding into each other like ink in water. You were observing the mark with focus, he said. Yes, Reyna admitted. Too much, I think. On Earth, we look at faces to understand feelings. I thought that was, something like that. A long pause stretched across the hall. Then, slowly, thin lines of soft teal spread from Sadrin's shoulders down his arms. The translator whispered a word Lena had not heard before. Curiosity. The mark is not decoration, Sadrin said. It is a personal record of emotional memory. Each Ilyari. It forms as we grow. It changes with experience. Lena's eyes widened. So it really was telling a story.
Yes.
She swallowed.
I'm sorry for staring. Where I come from, looking closely means we care.
But I understand if that was wrong here. More murmurs of light moved through the crowd. Some patterns were tight and flickering, discomfort. Others were slow and thoughtful. Sadrin studied her for several seconds. His face, smooth and calm, showed little, but the lights along his neck softened into gentle blue. You did not look with mockery, he said, nor with challenge. Your focus held analysis, and something else. What? Lena asked quietly. Concern, he said. She blinked. Concern? You were trying to match color shifts to emotional states, he continued. You leaned forward when the mark dimmed. Your breathing slowed when it brightened. Lena felt a little embarrassed. I didn't realize I was doing that. This is unusual, Sadrin said. Most species avoid looking at the mark. They find it confusing or intrusive. You watched as if you were trying to listen. The silence in the hall changed. The tension loosened just a little. I was, Lena said.
Humans don't have light like you. We have small signals. Eyes, voice tone, posture.
We spend our whole lives learning to notice tiny changes. When I saw something so clear, I couldn't help trying to understand it. A soft ripple of pale gold moved through the room. Interest. One of the older Iliari stepped forward, their lights a careful mix of green and amber. Commander Sadrin, they said, will you file a cultural violation notice? Lena's stomach dropped. Sadrin looked at her, then at the gathered crowd. His spiral mark shifted again, threads of silver weaving through deep blue. No, he said. A quiet wave of surprise passed through the hall. This was not an act of disrespect, Sadrin continued. It was an act of untrained perception. The humans sought understanding without knowing the boundary. The older Iliari tilted their head. And what boundary do you propose now exists? Sadrin's lights brightened slightly. A new one. Humans may observe the mark if invited, and only for the purpose of emotional learning. Their way of seeing may offer insight we have not considered.
All eyes and lights turned to Lena. She felt very small and very visible at the same time.
I would only ever look if someone said it was okay. she said quickly. I don't want to cross lines.
I just want to understand you better. The older Iliari studied her, their lights flickering in slow patterns of thought. Finally, they dipped their head. Then let this be recorded as the first moment of shared emotional study between our peoples, they said. The tension in the hall eased like a held breath released. Colors grew brighter again. Conversations resumed, softer now, more thoughtful. Sadrin turned back to Lena. You have altered the direction of this gathering, Ambassador Armitage. I hope in a good way, she said. That remains to be seen, he replied. But there was a gentle shimmer of silver along his shoulders that her guide had once translated as quiet amusement. As the gathering continued, several Iliari approached Lena with careful curiosity. They asked about human expressions, why eyebrows moved, why voices changed pitch, why tears formed. She answered each question in simple words, sometimes acting things out. She showed how a human smile could be polite, happy, nervous, or sad depending on the eyes. In return, one younger Iliari demonstrated how a faint pulse of yellow within blue could mean hope mixed with fear. Lena listened with full attention, hands still, eyes steady, but no longer wandering without thought. Across the room, Sadrin watched these exchanges. His mark glowed in slow, thoughtful colors. For the first time in many cycles, he wondered if being seen by another species might not be a risk. It might be the beginning of being understood. The days after the gathering felt different aboard the Iliari vessel. The air still carried the same soft warmth, and the curved corridors still glowed with gentle light. But something unspoken had shifted. Where once the Iliari had kept a careful physical and emotional distance from the human guest, now there was a quiet sense of watchful curiosity. Lena noticed it everywhere. When she walked through the central transit ring, Iliari crew members no longer turned their bodies away to hide their inner light patterns. They did not openly display their marks, but neither did they shield them with the same instinctive caution as before. Some even allowed their surface lights to brighten as she passed, as if inviting her to observe their general emotional tones. She was careful with her eyes now. Very careful. She kept her gaze mostly at shoulder level, where Iliari emotional currents were considered public. If she ever felt her attention drift lower, she redirected it at once. Respect first, curiosity second. Still, invitations began to come. The first was from a young navigation specialist named Terrell. His lights were quick and bright, often flashing in lively greens and golds that the translator labeled as eagerness. He approached Lena in one of the observation galleries, where stars shone like scattered ice beyond the transparent wall.
Ambassador Armitage, the translator said in his soft voice, Commander Sadrin has informed us that humans learn through emotional observation. I would like to assist in this learning. Lena smiled gently. I would be honored.
But only if you are fully comfortable. Terrell's lights rippled in warm amber. I am. He adjusted his stance slightly, turning one side of his body more toward her. The movement was deliberate, formal. Lena understood. This was permission. She did not stare. She let her gaze settle naturally, the way she would look at a human face during a serious talk. Terrell's mark was smaller than Sadrin's, its shape more like a branching river than a spiral. Colors flowed through it in slow pulses, pale blue, then green, then a soft thread of pink. What are you feeling right now? Lena asked quietly. Anticipation, Terrell replied. And mild fear of making an error. She nodded. Humans feel that a lot when learning, too. The mark flickered brighter pink. The translator hesitated, then said, relief. Lena felt a warm ache in her chest. Even without fully understanding the colors, she could feel the emotion behind them.
You're doing fine, she said. You don't have to be perfect.
I'm still learning how to see. Over the next hour, Terrell showed her simple emotional shifts,
Pride when he spoke of his first solo navigation jump, sadness when he described a training failure, joy when remembering his clutch siblings. Lena described what she thought each color change meant.
She was not always right. Sometimes she confused excitement with anxiety. Sometimes she mistook calm reflection for tiredness. But Terrell did not pull away. Each mistake led to more explanation, more shared understanding. By the end, both of them were mentally exhausted and strangely happy. Word spread. Soon, other Ilyari requested similar meetings. What? Always in controlled settings. Always with clear consent. Lena treated every session like a fragile gift. She began keeping a small digital journal, not of images but of emotional translations, blue with silver threads, thoughtful remembrance. Quick yellow flashes inside green, nervous hope. Deep violet fading to gray, shame softening into acceptance. She was building a bridge made of guesses, corrections, and patience. Not everyone approved. In a private council chamber shaped like a hollow sphere, several senior Ilyari gathered with Commander Sadrin. Their lights were tight, their colors restrained. "This exchange moves too quickly," said Councillor Mevren, whose lights stayed in firm, unblending lines of green. "The human is being given access to deeply personal signals without full understanding of consequence." Sadrin stood in the center, calm. His mark glowed in slow, layered blues. "Access is granted voluntarily. No mark has been observed without consent. Consent can be given in ignorance," Mevrin replied. The younger crew are fascinated by the human. Fascination clouds judgment. A low murmur of agreement flowed through the chamber. Sadrin considered this. "Then we guide, not forbid. Curiosity cannot be sealed away without harm. We learned that in our past." "Our past also taught caution," another counselor said, their lights flashing brief red-orange. "Other species have misunderstood us before."
"Yes," Sadrin said softly.
"They feared what they could not read."
"The human does the opposite. She looks closer." Silence followed that. Meanwhile, Lena sat with Dr. Han Velasquez in the human delegation module, a small section of the ship adjusted for human comfort. Plants from Earth grew under soft lamps, their green leaves a reminder of home. Han studied Lena over a cup of recycled tea. "You look tired." "I am," she admitted. "It's like learning a whole new sense. Imagine if emotions had colors and everyone else could see them except you."
Han chuckled. "Humans can barely handle emotions when they're invisible."
She smiled faintly. Then her expression turned thoughtful. "I keep worrying I'll hurt someone without meaning to." "That's part of contact," Han said gently. "You're being careful. That matters." She stared into her cup. "They trust me with things they don't show each other easily. That's heavy." Han nodded. Trust usually is. Later that cycle, Sadrin requested a private meeting. They met in a quiet chamber with curved walls that dimmed to soft twilight when occupied. No other Ilyari were present.
"You are adapting quickly,"
Sadrin said.
"I'm trying," Lena replied. "I still feel like a child learning to read. Children ask honest questions," he said.
"That is not a weakness." She hesitated, then asked, "Commander, why did you defend me at the gathering? You could have reported the mistake." Sadrin's mark shifted, a slow bloom of pale gold through blue, because your gaze did not carry hunger, dominance, or mockery. It carried effort. Effort deserves guidance, not punishment. Lena let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Thank you. There is something more," he continued. "Your interpretations, though imperfect, reveal patterns we have not formally studied."
Her eyebrows lifted.
"Like what?" You focus strongly on emotional transitions, he said. Ilyari are trained to present stable light in public.
You notice the small fluctuations we are taught to suppress? She blinked.
So I'm seeing things you're trying not to show? In part, Sadrin said. You observe the movement between emotions, not just the emotion itself. That's very human, she said quietly. We change feelings fast. We're used to tracking shifts. Sadrin stepped a little closer.
I would like to attempt something unprecedented, but you must be certain. Her pulse quickened.
What is it?
I wish to show you a controlled memory pattern from my mark, he said. Not lineage memory.
Not yet. A personal moment of emotional significance. Lena's mouth went dry. Are you sure? No Ilyari has shared such a memory with an alien, he said calmly. But if humans are to help us understand emotional transition, we must begin somewhere real. She nodded slowly. I'm ready. The chamber lights dimmed further. Sadrin adjusted his stance, exposing the spiral mark more clearly. Its colors deepened, layers of blue, green, and silver folding inward.
Do not try to name everything at once, he said. Just describe what you feel as you watch.
The mark brightened. A pulse of sharp white shot through deep blue, then fractured into trembling lines of green.
Shock, Lena whispered.
Sudden change? Fear? Yes, Sadrin said softly. The green faded into a heavy gray-blue.
Loss, she said. Something ended. A thin thread of gold began to weave through the gray. Hope trying to come back, she added. But slowly, the gold strengthened, joined by soft pink tones. Connection, she said, voice unsteady. Someone helped you. The light settled into a calm, warm silver. Acceptance, she finished. The mark dimmed to its resting state. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. That memory, Sadrin said at last, was from my first failed command. I made a navigation error that damaged a survey craft. No lives were lost, but I believed my career was over. My mentor chose to guide me instead of remove me.
Lena swallowed hard.
You still carry that? Yes, he said, but now you have seen it too. She met his gaze. Thank you for trusting me. His lights shimmered softly. You did not just watch, you felt with me. That is rare. Outside the chamber, debate about humans continued among the Ilyari leadership. Some feared dependence. Others saw possibility. But among the crew, something simpler was happening. They were talking more openly about feelings they once kept hidden behind perfect, steady light. And in quiet rooms across the ship, a human sat with them, watching carefully, learning the colors of alien hearts.